It's Amber again. I'm a speech therapist at Seattle Therapy Skills for Life, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about expressive and receptive language. Expressive and receptive language refers to the content of our messages, that's expressive language, and the content of what we understand, that's our receptive language. So this includes things like vocabulary, the words that we say and understand. It is our grammar, how we combine words to make sentences of different lengths and different complexities, how we combine sentences to tell stories. It also refers to how we understand stories, the concepts that we understand, being able to understand multiple directions, anything related to what we hear and say. So how do you know if your kid needs some support with their language? For expressive language, one thing you might notice is that your child sounds just kind of immature compared to other kids their age. They might say something like, "Oh, he goed to the store," or "I felled down when I catched the ball." Or maybe they'll say something like, "Him is petting the dog," or "he petting the dog." They'll use grammar and sentence structures that just sound a little bit younger. You might also notice them using non-specific words like thing or stuff. This is a big sign that maybe they don't have the vocabulary they need to talk about what they're experiencing in their day and their environment. And lastly, you might just notice that your child is having a hard time telling you about their experiences. Maybe something happens to them in their day and they tell you the whole story, but you're still not understanding it. Or they tell you something, but without details and elaboration that help you understand. Or they might not tell you about their day at all. For receptive language, you might notice that your child is not understanding directions, especially directions of multiple steps. So maybe if you tell your kid, "Okay, go to your room and pick up a couple toys and don't forget to get your shoes on your way back down," maybe they'll head up to their room and they'll pick up their toys but not bring their shoes. Or maybe they'll head to the kitchen and pick up toys from the kitchen. You'll notice that they might just miss either whole parts of the direction or details. You could also notice that they're not following the storyline when you read together or not getting the gist of conversations. One important thing to remember is that language and intelligence are not the same. So just because your child is not using the grammar expected of their age or sentence length, or they're not understanding directions, that has nothing to do with that child's intelligence. Another thing to understand is that you can struggle in one area of language and not the other. It's actually really common for us to see kids who have great receptive language. They understand everything, but they're struggling with their expression. Language develops rapidly at different periods of development, and it can develop differently in different kids. So just because you hear another child using longer sentences or bigger vocabulary or any other language skill that your child isn't yet developing, it doesn't mean that your child's delayed. The best thing to do is to look at the developmental trajectory that is expected. So different language skills are kind of known to develop in a time frame, but it's not a moment in time, it's a time frame. So something that develops at 4 could also be developed at 4.5, and that is all considered typical. If you're wondering if something is delayed for your child, the best thing to do is to find developmental milestones and talk to a speech therapist, because they're really going to be able to look at the whole picture and give you a good sense of where your child might need support. You can look at the links below to see some of those time frames. Thanks for watching.